now I can answer a few questions for people if anyone has anything that they'd like to ask.
Did they carbon date the tin can? When was the tin can?
They haven't carbon dated them. The only identifiable can in the group was J.A. Folger and Sons Golden Gate brand baking powder can that probably dates from about 1885 to 1889. And the rest of the cans, most of them were a little bit too far gone to actually identify.
I saw quite a few of them afterwards. I guess they got broken out or what have you. They had a lot of little tiny lines and scratches, particularly around the denticles.
Yeah.
What was that from the dirt?
I think that was probably from them actually taking them out of the cans. If you saw the one can that we had pictured there, the coins were in there and they were just absolutely packed into the cans with coins. And I think that as they were taking them out, I saw a lot of very, very fine hairlines very fine straight hairlines.
Right.
That probably, the only thing I could think is if you were taking it out and it was packed into some grit, that's precisely what would happen with it. When I got them, I was excessively paranoid about not touching them and not letting anything like that happen to them, but there was certainly some amount of handling that had happened throughout the entire group.
Were there any exceptionally rare dated coins in the ones that they polished first off by mistake?
Well, there were an awful lot of 1860s and early 1870s 20s in the first group that was found. The most notable among them, there was an 1868 S20 that conservatively the reverse would grade 67. The obverse didn't have a mark on it, but had a single very, very deep wipe across the front, which was a real bummer to find.
Dave, how deep were the cans?
I'm not 100% sure about the depth of all of them. I know that the next can that they found was about 1.5 feet over and about 1 foot down into the ground. So it was on their property, yeah. It was on their property, dead center in a path that they had walked pretty much every day for 10 years. And the strange thing about it, I walked the path with them. I saw where they dug up the cans, and if I needed to get from point A to point B, this particular path wouldn't have been the route I would ever have taken. It was kind of an unusual, meandering route that they took. So it's sort of incredible that they found the coins at all.
Was there something hanging from a tree that showing where it was?
Well, there was. We interviewed them prior to the announcement, and they talked about a tree at the bottom of the hill that they found a can hanging on, but that didn't seem to be a marker. However, there were some stone piles not far away that were definitely some sort of a marker.
How big is this property? Have they gone out and explored?
It's a fairly substantial property, and I know that they've gone and explored some areas of it, but I think they'll be exploring for a long time. But all of the cans were basically found in about a 10 by 10 foot square area.
Did they keep any coins just put away for their family, or do they sell them all?
No, they've kept a number of coins, including the 1868 S20.
Is this turned them into coin collectors, you think?
They're really they do have an interest in coins.
Since this fine.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't collect before, but I mean, I can imagine them buying coins in the future.
They probably weren't standing in Latteroo this week.
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
What's left? What haven't you sold?
Okay, so right now we have there are 14 coins that are either finest known or tied for finest known that was offered as a group, but will be broken up at this show, and we're having at this show we're actually going to have a sealed bid sale of 12 of those 14 coins. And then we have about, I think, 32 other examples, which are the only remaining coins in grades above MS62. And then there's another 180 coins right now that are, XFAU type treasure coins on Amazon. So.
What was the total value of all the coins together?
It's in excess of $10 million. And the melt value on the material is probably $2.5 million.
So what do you think your marketing of this added in value to the total value of coins?
It's hard to say where conservation leaves off and marketing starts. I would think probably the marketing added $3 or $4 million to the group. I mean, there were plenty of no-grade coins that were sold for $2,500 a piece, and XF and AU coins that have been sold for $3,500, $4,000 a piece as treasure coins. And clearly, those numbers would never have been realized without the kind of news coverage that they got.
So we were actually talking about, please don't mind my comment about integrity of the industry. How do you feel about these coins being bought for $3,000 or $4,000 that are worth a fraction of that to the people that actually bought them? It's just I don't know how many, but you got, maybe there's 700 people out there who bought coins that at some point they'll sell it and they'll find out that they'll sell it for 75% less than what they, it's just and then they'll talk to another group and that's the kind of thing that just spreads the
it remains to be seen
why bother do this, because you get just shortchanged all over.
Well, it remains to be seen what the secondary market on this will be like. If you take a look at things like the Central America treasure, there are common $5 coins that came out of that sell for $3,000 a piece that are worth $400 or $500 if they weren't in the Central America holder.
I mean, that's just another example, but it's just.
But the resale on those pieces has held up, and as a collectible with a story, this is a different, like a 74S20 in AU from this group is a very different coin, I think, than a 74S20 in AU that just shows up somewhere.
But eventually that difference, that premium will go away.
It hasn't done that with the Central America coins.
Value eventually approaches what value is. It's just, the premiums stay large, and then they eventually, you'll look 5 years later, 10 years, 15, 12, eventually it'll get down to what the raw nature of what it is.
It depends upon the supply and demand. In this group, there may have been, 500 total treasure coins in the entire group. The question then becomes, are there going to be 500 people at any given time who want to own a piece of this, who will pay a premium for it? And if so, what's that premium? And, again, it's only time will tell, what that sort of material is going to continue to bring.
What did you use to conserve?
Time and patience, lots of water, and a few other things that I discovered along the way. But it was it took about 4 months.
Soak them or something?
Yeah, among other things, and it took about 4 months, and I found that I could work on somewhere between 12 and 18 coins at a time.
David, after you worked on the coins, could you more or less have a good feel on what the date was based on the coloration of the coin?
There were certain dates that definitely had a different color to them in the group. The 92Ss tended to have a little bit more variation in color across the surface for each coin. They had some kind of peachy and greeny color that other coins didn't. 90Ss tended to be sort of an even green. 89Ss tended a little bit more orange. But there were also certain cans where the coins came out and had a slightly different color, and I wondered if there was an issue with the groundwater, maybe in some areas that altered the chemical composition there somewhat.
Did anybody come forward that owned the property in the late 1800s, early 1900s?
No, there was.
Were you able to track who owned the property?
They didn't disclose the location of the property, but they did do a certain amount of research into who had lived there.
But they bought the property. there, is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it true, David, that you did get some contact from the San Francisco Mint or the Philadelphia Mint in pertaining to the theft, and that they
We
basically
did.
said,
Well, the story broke over the weekend about Walter Dimmick, and the response that we got from the Mint was a very, very nice letter saying, hey, these were not the coins that were stolen by Walter Dimmick, and we have no claim on them and no interest in them. And that came out on Monday morning.
was it written or was it verbal?
It was written. It was actually posted on the San Francisco Mint website, I believe, and we had a copy posted on our website.
Were there any coins you weren't able to conserve after all your effort? I mean, it just didn't.
I would say there were maybe 25 or 30 coins where either the rust would not come off, or I felt that I'd be impacting the aesthetic appeal of the coin if I did anything more, and I just left them the way they were.
So those are ungradable then?
Yeah,
right? They're
yeah,
just
they
like raw.
environmental damage. They were, yeah,
They're still so
yeah.
cute.
Patience, patience.
And they're so-
Anything else? David, thank you. Thank you very much.